Welcome back to the channel. My name is Patrick, and in today's video I've got something special for you, especially if you like trading with a trend. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. Today I've gotten around to it. So I hope you appreciate it, and if you find it useful, you know what to do. Hit that like button, and if you want to support the channel, hit the subscribe button, okay? Alright, let's get busy. Okay, so anyone who watches my videos knows that I trade based on supply and demand. I've showed you how I scalp imbalances. I've showed you how I find reversals. And today I'm going to show you how I trade with the trend. So there's a third part in my strategy. I don't use it all the time, but recently the market's been trending a lot. So it makes sense I start, looking at it and using it to trade, because sometimes that's the only price action that's available. So it makes sense I use it. So as you can see here, we're on the euro, and euro's been trending a bit. So that's why really I started revisiting this strategy or this technique, and I decided I needed to get this video out to you guys so you could see how I do it, and maybe you want to throw it into your arsenal as well. So let's see. So euro's trending. It's pushed up here, pulled down. We've got our trend now. It pushes up here, new high. So now we've got a trend, established trend. It pulls down, and then we're looking for it to push up to continue, right? So this is based on H1. So you could caught this entry here, took it up. As it comes back down here, you could caught it here. That entry would have been here based on the H1. Hold on, it would have been here. So you can see this strategy on any time frame. It's just, any trending market, you can see it. So it's applicable to any instrument as well. So I'm gonna delve in a little bit and show you how I find my entries. So you can find it on H1 using support and resistance. You can find it on the daily using support and resistance, and you can find it on lower time frames using support and resistance. I don't look at it as support and resistance. I read it in a different way. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do that now. So we've got our established trend here. I'm going to show you where I find my entries based on it. Okay, so let's zoom out. Okay, so let's start from here. Okay, so this is where this trend, as you can see, originated from. So the way I look at it is I look for a break in structure. Okay, a break in structure. Now you may have heard me mention a break in structure before when I'm talking about reversals, and this is exactly what it is, because what we had here is a down aggressive push down, yeah, and then price reversed here, broke structure, and then started trending up. So when it moves in a direction, it usually moves in a trend, like in a wave. It goes up, down, up, down. I don't know this as up and down. I know this as flag and pole. So if you imagine a flag, like a checkered flag, you got here the pole of the checkered flag. It pulls up, and when it comes down here, that's the flag. Yeah. So that's the way I know this as a flag and pole. So it pulls up here, it flags down. It pulls up here, it flags down again. It pulls up here, it flags down. And as you can see, all these flags are not identical. They vary in design. So you can't know when it's gonna, just based on looking at it, you don't know when it's gonna turn around and so on. So some people know this is just as a pullback, okay? So I know this as a pull, flag, pull, flag, pull, flag, pull, flag. As you can see, it varies, but that's when price is moving in a trend. This is what I associate it with, a pull and a flag. So it's still polling and flagging is doing this thing, right? So how do we find our entries? Where do we place our stop losses? How do we trade this strategy? Okay, so let's get back to down here. I'll zoom in again. So price came down here, which is a pole, flag, small flag, pulls down, small flag, pulls down, small flag, pulls down, flags, and gives us a fake breakout. Now, if you remember what I said with reversals, you need a fake breakout. That's why, well, I'll touch on this in the end of the video. So if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you a little bonus tip in terms of finding reversals, okay? So here it's reverse, okay? So it's pulling and flagging. So we're looking to jump in the trend and continue. So our established trend starts from here. It pulls up, it flags, it pulls up, it flags, creating another high here. So now we do have a trend. So what we're trying to do is find an entry based on this price action here. So when this flags down, we want to enter in here somewhere and then ride the trend up. So how do we find our entry here? So the way I find it on the on M15, this is my preferred time frame when I'm doing this. You can find it on any time frame, but this is my preferred time frame, especially when I'm doing this. Okay, so how I find it is I look for where the break in structure was. So when it flagged down here, so it pulls down, it flags, it pulls down, right? It pulls up and it pulls down, and it's meant to flag here and continue down, right? To continue this downtrend, but it doesn't. It pushes all the way back up here and it breaks this structure here, right? That is my entry. Okay, that is my entry. Right on the tip here where it broke this structure, went down and started going up again. That is my key area, and when price returns there, that's where I want to enter to potentially continue this uptrend, right? So as you can see to my left is exactly where price comes. It comes there, it respects the zone, and it continues up. So where do you place your stop loss? I place my stop loss at the bottom of that low. As this is an uptrend, I place my stop loss at the bottom of this low. So in this scenario, my initial stop, so in this trade here, okay, let's just drag this over a bit. So in this trade here, if I set a pending order, my initial stop loss will be here, right? So that's my risk. So that's a massive risk, by the way. That's 70 pips, yeah? So if I'm taking this trade, I don't want to risk more than maybe 0.5%, 1%. It depends how I'm feeling, but this is a 70 pip range, and price could pull all the way into any of this space here before turning around. Okay, so that's something to consider, but that's where my initial stop loss is. I need to give it room to pull into this zone and then turn around. Okay, so as you can see though, it only pulled into this zone by about 8 pips. Okay, so I would happily take this trade and ride it up. So what I would do is enter here based on this breaker structure where the price turned around from, enter here. When price started moving away, I would move my initial stop loss just below this candle wick here, because now to continue the trend, it needs to respect this low. If it comes underneath here, it's looking at potentially breaking this trend, and it's a breaker structure and it's potentially breaking this trend, right? So that would be my risk after the move has started. So I am only risking 8 pips, and my first exit on my first TP will be the previous high. Okay, so to continue the trend, it needs to beat this, right? So that's my first TP. So here to here is 52 pips, risking 8 pips. So that's a really good risk to reward ratio, good return on your money. And I would exit most of my position here, then move to break even, and leave the runner. Let's zoom out. As you can see, it ran it ran a fair bit. So it ran about 167 pips. Now, the other thing you can do to see where you may want to place your ultimate TP is zoom out again. So if you zoom out, you can see where you could place your ultimate TP to continue this uptrend. So remember, price came from here, and it dumped. It reversed it and it started trending up. So where do you think, your last ultimate TP would be? It will be to beat these highs. If it's a reversal, it needs to beat this highs where it dropped from. So that could be your ultimate TP. So that could be your first TP if you're, patient enough to hold the move. So from my initial entry here to our TP, it's 140 pips. Again, if we zoom out and we read this again, you can see where price is heading. There's an imbalance here that has not been filled. This high here has been used already. That's where price dropped from. So you would expect price to reverse to beat this high here and potentially beat this high, and then potentially head up into this imbalance, because if it's going to reverse and start coming down, this is a very strong zone for it to do so. Okay, so if you're patient enough and you're willing to hold a trade, you could just leave a runner and let it ride up into this zone, or at least to beat this last high, because that's where price is heading now. If you're like me and you like to secure the bag, you may just scout that first move here and be done with the move, which is what I did initially. Okay, so I scouted it and left it. I wanted to show you this because it's very powerful, and I think a lot of people could benefit from it, especially if you're a lot more patient with moves than I am. You could just hold this, and that's a really, really, really nice move. So that's really it. It's that simple. Trading with the trend. That's how I find my entry. I'm going to show you this isn't a fluke. You can, do this multiple times using this strategy. And I can show you, like, let's say we missed that entry, okay? Let's say we missed that entry. We could call a second entry here based on the same thing. So what did I say? I said my entry is based on the breaker structure. So again, M15, we have our pole, our flag, our pole, our flag, our pole, our flag, and it's meant to pull all the way through here. But what did it do? It pulled a little bit, then reverse. Okay, that is a reversal. It's a smaller time frame reversal. So that's the breaker structure right there. So where do I want to place my entry? It'll be based on this guy right here, on this point where price broke structure. So it pulls back in, respects this low, and goes there. So where's my stop loss? My initial stop loss is there. So that's my initial risk. I base my trade based on this risk, which is 20 pips. So set my pending order, wait for price to return, and look what it does. It comes in straight here. It pulls in, it draws us down by 2 pips and starts moving off. So as it draws us down and starts moving off, I move my stop loss to here. And as you can see, it's only a 2 pip risk. If I wanted to, I could move straight to break even because it's such a small risk. The entry is so good, and doing so, what do we have? We have our entry from down here all the way up here where price is currently 150 pips from that move. I think I scalped this as well. I can't remember. I definitely did not hold it all this way, but I did scalp this. So that's 2 entries, and you could do it all day long. It doesn't always come back to here. So that's where I would like to enter if it came back. But as you can see, this is a very strong uptrend, and it's gone. It's just gone. The next entry for this could be, could have been here, but it didn't come to it. Next entry could have been here, but it didn't come to it. It's gone. So I've missed any potential return of this trade because it's very aggressive and it's moving off, and it has an agenda. So that trade is gone. You just have to leave it and wait for another setup. You could wait for another trade, or you could look for a counter trend trade. So I did say if you stick around to the end, I'll give you a bonus. So for those who are still here, well done. I'm going to show you something that's really key for reversals. So I touched on it in the beginning of the video. I'm just going to touch on it again now. So when I look for my reversals, this is what I look for the breaking structure based on the M15 breaking structure to ride the trend. Okay, so down here where we had our first break in structure is where we're going to start. So back here, where we gone? So price has pushed down, and if we look at the daily, let's zoom out again. I'll do this quickly, but this is a bonus for you. And if you want some more information, maybe I'll do another video on this. So on the daily, price has pulled all the way down, and it's in a strong demand that pushed it up. Okay, remember this is trending up as well, so it's exactly the same thing I showed you on the M15. So this is trending up as well. So on the daily here, it pushes down and it comes to this zone here, and we're looking for a reversal potentially to ride this back up to continue its uptrend, right? So when price came down here, and I know now we're in demand, yeah. So price was here and it pushed down here, yeah. I know we are in a strong demand zone, so price is always trying to get back up, reverse from here. It put a few reversal signs a couple of times there before actually doing this major one that we are in currently, yeah. So price is trying to return to where it dropped from dramatically. So on M15 now, once we saw price drop down dramatically here, we're looking for any kind of breaker structure to take it back up, right? So zoom in a little bit more. We get our first break in structure here, okay? So price comes all the way down, poles, flags, poles, flags, pole, flag, poles, flags, and gives us a fake pole. So it pulls here, stops, and returns aggressively. That is our first indication price wants to reverse. So our entry is based on the resistance where it first reversed, well, where it first broke structure, based on that little bit there, okay? So this is the origin of this current uptrend. This is the origin, and that's the key entry or price point where you want to enter. Now, in my other videos, I do talk about waiting for the left shoulder. This will be the left shoulder, but as you can see, price did not come to the left shoulder. So there's two entries for these reversals. This is what I've discovered. So this is unique to me, and I'm giving it to you completely free. So if you find this useful, hit the like button, and if you appreciate what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button and continue supporting the channel. Okay, so this is completely unique to me. So typically, when I was told to wait for price to return to the left shoulder and you buy it there, right? So my entry should be here. But as you can see, price did not come back there. It came back to this breaking structure there, and that's where it took off from. So it did not give me a right shoulder down there. It just broke up, came down, and that entry there, based on this breaking structure, my drawdown would have been 13 pips. My initial risk, my first risk would have been 47 pips, which is a massive zone. So you couldn't over leverage on this. You know, you need to calculate your risk. But once we got this entry here, we could have then moved our stop loss just underneath that wick there. So our risk would have been on this move would have been 14 pips, which is more reasonable now. And it's a reversal. So what are we aiming for? We are aiming for these highs here. Okay, so risking 15 pips and looking to make 196 pips. I did spot this move. I did enter this trade, but I think this was a Friday. I was out with my family and I just couldn't focus. I couldn't manage the risk. I couldn't do anything right. So I just scalped there and left it. I did not expect it to do this. It had the potential to do it as it was a reversal. But as I said, the situation, I just wasn't in the right mind frame to trade. I was on the street. I shouldn't have been trading. Got in the move, got a quick scalp, and I just left it. So I did miss this move, but I did have opportunity to jump back in it, which I did for the scalps. But because I knew I had missed the main entry down here. I didn't hold it. I just scalped it from then on. So that's a bonus tip for you to find reversals. Again, this is applicable anywhere. I mean, I think it's even with this down move here, it's applicable. Let's just zoom in quickly. It's applicable in any instrument for breaking structures. So again, it is here and it's a little bit different. So we have our, it was polling and flagging. It pulls up here, flags, it's on the lower time frame. It pushes up a little bit, then breaks structure here, and it starts trending down. And your entry could have been based on this breaker structure here. Okay, so price gets here, gets underneath, pulls back in, and that's your entry to call this. So you could definitely catch reversals using this strategy. If you want me to go into more detail, let me know in the comments, and I'll do another video just dedicated to finding breaker structures or reversals based on what I showed you. But for now, this is trading with the trend, and that's how you find it. And very simple, very powerful. And if you like trading with the trend, you should have liked this video. You should hit that like button, support the channel, and I'm going to leave it as that. This is Patrick signing out, and until next time, peace.